everyone, welcome back. Thanks for coming over today. We're not at home. So we're at home with Lynn Wilson on the move. So we are at a local town by us called Beechwood, and our son Gavin is getting his hair extensions done. So my husband and I decided to go out and treat ourselves to breakfast. So we had breakfast at a little diner in the area, and this is a little town called Beechwood that has obviously water, and we're at a little park kind of nestled away. I'll put some pictures on the screen for you so that you can see. We're between a kayak and a rowboat, I guess you'd say, and you can hear the water behind us. It'll settle down in a moment because boats are going by. It's beautiful here. It's not humid and hot right now, so we're coming to you with Graeme and Lynn. I don't know if I've ever officially introduced my husband, but this is my gorgeous husband, Graeme. Many of you have requested Graeme to be on more of the videos, so we're gonna do that. Ooh, there goes the water. There it goes. Okay, so just ignore that big sound of the crushing waves behind us. So today's video, Graeme and I like to talk about life a lot together, and today's video is going to be things that we've learned over 50. And we each wrote down thoughts, so we're going to kind of jump in with each other a little bit, and he'll say some things, I'll say some things, and so on. So we might jump in on each other's thoughts, or we might not. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. If you are over 50, you might get a chuckle out of this. If you're over 60 or 70, you probably get more of a kick out of this, thinking back, oh, when I was 50, that's what it was like. And if you're younger than this, then these are things that maybe you can kind of anticipate in the future. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so we had a brief interruption there. We had one of the locals come and want to set up to take his boat out, so we thought we were in a quiet little nook, but obviously this is a hopping place. So, okay, so I'm going to jump in. And my first thought for the day actually fits this perfect scenario. So here we came to video. We thought it would be a perfect scenario. And if I was in my 20s and 30s, I probably would have been bent out of shape because I planned my day to be a certain way, and it is not. So one thing I've learned over 50 is don't take life so seriously. So here we are in this perfect setting that I thought was perfect, and got interrupted by a large garbage truck beeping as he backed up, to a man coming down to rake part of the beach for his boat. And you know what? You just have to laugh. You say good morning to that person, have a little chit chat, giggle about how loud the garbage truck is rattling away, and just move on with life. So one thing I've learned is not to take life so serious. You have to learn to be flexible, at least for me. I remember watching a Star Trek movie one time, and he says if you're not flexible, you're going to snap. And mentally snap, maybe physically snap. If you get yourself so tensed up all the time, it can actually physically change you and can harm you, make you ill. So don't take life so serious. You want me to do 3 of them and then you jump in?
Why don't you do that?
All right. So the other thing I thought of is keep your accounts short. I think I've pretty much always done that. I don't think I've kept my accounts long. Maybe once in a while I've been a little bit more annoyed than I should have been, but I take a while to process. So if I've been hurt, or I don't know that I offend easy, but I guess I hurt easy. But if I've been offended or hurt or anything along that line, I take a while to process what just happened. Why did they say that? Why did it affect me the way it did? And I really do process a lot, and my brain has to process it, and then I have to talk it through. But the bottom line is, that's fine if that's how your brain works to process, but keep your accounts short. My in-laws are both gone. They are in glory, and I always tried to keep accounts short. There were things they did, like anyone else, that annoyed me, but you know what? They're long gone now. And those things are now something to chuckle over. Can you believe that bothered us, or something like that? But they knew that I loved them. I knew they loved me. And that's all that really matters. My dad right now is in critical condition. We don't know if he has weeks, months, or years. And we are we won't know probably till today or tomorrow exactly where he's at in life, but my account is short with him. He knows I love him. I know he loves me. I walked in the hospital room yesterday and he says, "You're a sight for sore eyes." He said, "I love you and I miss you." And my dad and I have always had a great relationship, and I feel good that my account is short with him. My account is short with, I think, most people. I don't know that I have grudges. I have people that annoy me that I don't particularly want to be around. I have some traumatic moments, I guess you know some of them, that have happened to me in my life that were not good, let's just say, and were very nasty type situations. And one of those persons is no longer living, and the other person is, and I just choose to not be part of their life. So just for safety reasons and for sanity reasons, I just separate myself, but I don't still want to hold and harbor onto stuff that's just going to eat me away. That one person is gone, so if I let it eat me away, what good is it going to do? Because he's no longer here, and there's nothing I can do to change what happened. So I have to have accounts short, and I find over 50, you also learn that it's just not worth hanging on to that stuff. So my third one is now, Graeme and I have a different perspective. I work full-time outside the home. He works full-time inside the home. I don't have a disability. He has a disability. I'm the caretaker of the disability. I take care of older parents, but we have a different perspective on life from where we come from. He's a man, I'm a woman. Different perspective there. You know, women are always right and men are always wrong, and he thinks men are always right and women are always wrong. So this one is particularly for women that I've learned over 50. You know, when you hit 12, your mother sits you down or someone sits you down to tell you about life and the wonderful things that will happen, and you will become a woman and all those wonderful things about what's going to happen. Your body changes and all that. And they make this a momentous occasion. But then when you hit your 40s and 50s, nobody bothers to tell you the horrors that you will live through of menopause. So sorry guys, if you're watching this, you're just going to have to sort this out. But women, if you haven't hit menopause, or if you're in it, or you've gone through it, you know what I'm talking about. It's horrible. It is not, it's not for the weak, let's just say. You grow hair in places you've never thought you'd grow hair. You might lose hair. Your skin changes. What else did I write down? Your weight changes. You have sleeping disorders. Your cravings for food change. Your taste buds change. Your hair changes. You know, the texture of your hair. The makeup I used to wear no longer works for my face. You know, wrinkles are appearing. Your body changes. You're getting, you know, the bat wings, and you're getting all kinds of things, and just going through the physical changes of menopause, pre-menopause, menopause, and all of that. Memory loss, and you know, the floodgates open. Let's just say it like that. At the most inopportune times when I've been at work and I've had to run to the ladies' room, and you're embarrassed and you're awkward and you feel very alone because nobody seems to talk about this. It is obviously a very personal thing, but no one seems to talk about it openly. And I think that has kind of frustrated me, that I've not felt like I had people that I could talk to about it. So that is my first three, and I'm going to ask you to jump in. And what are some things you learned in your 50s?
Well, I would say one of the first things that I have learned in my 50s is learning, especially as someone with disabilities, is learning to accept my limitations. And it wasn't a quick learning. It was the fact that
It was for both of us.
It really was.
We both had to learn it.
You know, it took time. It was to understand that what I used to do, I can no longer do.
And it is okay.
And that it is okay.
Yes.
To know that I now I need to adapt to what my body can now do.
And learn how to do it differently.
Exactly.
We can still accomplish things, but we just go about it in a very different way.
Exactly. And it is a limitation. And because, And the irony of the whole thing is that people's perspective of what your limitations is amazing. That people look at you differently. They think that you are less of a man. And it is amazing. And you need to be able to be confident in yourself.
That's a good point.
And that I'm okay with who I am.
That's right. That's right.
Because that can really do a number on yourself. That especially when you think, well, there's the one thing. Well, okay, I'm retired, but you're not retired. It's just a limitation. So that's
right. You're on disability. You're not retirement age yet, but you've had to learn to retire early at a young age.
Exactly. There's a difference.
And be okay with that.
So that was the one thing, and it's learning to accept my limitations. The next thing that I would say is learning to my responsibility as a role model and a mentor to the next generation. And as men,
or as people,
what husband or wives, those that are older, you are now passing away. I was just looking at a photograph of when I was younger, and I was counting them, and 10 out of them have passed on, gone to glory, and I'm like, wow.
10 people in the family?
And so it's like I am now in that next generation, and I am now one of the leaders in that next group, and I am now one of the ones that they need to look up to, and I am now a role model. I can't just be one of the young kids in the picture. I'm now, as much as I might still feel like I'm a young kid, I'm not a young kid. I'm one of the role models, and so I need to be a role model as to one of the ones that they look up to, as to how I behave. I can't just goof off or whatever. They look up to me, and I need to be a role model. And I would say the third one that I have here is learning not to take life for granted. So often, as we get older, we can just kind of, when we're younger, we can kind of let things slip, But as we get older, we appreciate every day that we have.
I think when you're young too, you think, when we were in our 20s, life would never end. And people in their 50s were old, like grandma and grandpa old. And you just don't feel the urgency of life or the finality of life in your 20s.
Right.
Even in your 30s. And when you start hitting your 40s, you kind of realize you're middle-aged. And you look back at a 20-year-old and laugh at them. And you look still at 50 and 60 is old. And then you realize it's not so old. But
right.
Yeah.
So it's just learning to appreciate every day for what it is, and say thank you for every day that I have.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely
using it for what it is.
Good thought.
What's your next three?
My next three. Okay. So let the car go around you. I was just telling Graeme at breakfast, I have 4 very wise men in my life that I'm very blessed to have. My father-in-law he's gone now, but my father-in-law invested in me and taught me wise things on spiritual matters, on perspective on people, and perspectives on situations, I'd say. My dad has invested in my life and taught me well and wisdom in the practicality of work on my job and just dealing with people on an everyday basis. Graeme I always tell people my husband is wise. Graeme does not talk a lot. You're not a talker. He's more of a quiet personality, but if you get him on a topic he's interested in, you might as well just grab a pot of coffee, forget a cup of coffee, because he can just chat and chat and chat when he's comfortable and he's in tune to that subject. He doesn't really waste a lot of frivolous time. Like, I can talk about anything. Graeme's very exact, That's not a bad thing. But the wisdom he instills in me is like every aspect of my life. When I need grounding, when I need just plain and simple advice, whether it's cooking or it's a urgent life situation, Graeme has a balance to everything. I tell people all the time, my husband is so wise. He can look at everything. And this is from a man that has been out of the workforce for about 7 years and has been home and disabled and not able to get out and about. But the wealth of wisdom he has is amazing. And then my son, Graeme, who's now an adult, has words of wisdom from me. He's my biological son, and we are definitely connected at the hip in so many ways. But he has those little nuggets, that one little dot of something that I never thought of. And when I'm really struggling with certain things and I kind of need the icing on the cake, he's the man I go to. But one of the things that my dad taught me is let the car go around you. How many of us drive and there's the road rage and, oh, that car's on my tail and I'm going to jam on my brakes, I hear people say, or I'm going to speed up behind them because they passed me. My dad would always say to me, you never know the car behind you, why he's racing ahead of you. He could have a loved one in the hospital that he's rushing to go see. He also could be drunk or on drugs, and being an idiot, let them pass you. Whether they have an emergency, whether they're just being a jerk, or whether they're strung out on drugs or alcohol. You don't know the circumstances. There's no time to say, by the way, can we pull over and find out what your problem is? My dad always said, let them pass you. If they're in that much of a hurry, let them pass you.
That's a good point.
Guaranteed, you're still going to get to where you need to be, but you're going to be safe, you're going to be okay, you're not going to cause a problem. And you know what? I go back to my first point, don't take life so serious. If a guy's a jerk, let him be a jerk. Let him pass you. You know what? Just get on with life and let the car go around you. The next one I have is be comfortable in your own skin. Ooh, I struggle with this. I'm short. I'm not a size 2. I don't find myself pretty and attractive. There's things about my personality I don't like. I'm an introvert. Even though people think I'm an extrovert, I'm really an introvert that has learned how to go on stage. But I've had to learn to be comfortable in my own skin. Whether it's your appearance, it's your skin color, it's your personality, it's a flaw. If you want to say that you can look at your person, you need to find to be comfortable in that. And I think not so much in my early 50s, but in my later 50s, I'm allowing myself to be okay with my flaws and to know that I think part of that for me in learning to be comfortable is learning to admit and accept that I have a flaw. I have a speech impediment, and I stumble on my words, and I get confused on my words, and I get confused with the word to use. I need to be okay with that. I need to go on a video and know that when you watch my video and I'm stumbling on my words, sorry guys, but that's who I am. It's okay. It's okay. And if you don't like me because of that, then shame on you. If you make fun of me because of that, then shame on you. I'm okay with that. I'm dyslexic. So at work, to dial a phone number, which is one thing I do in my job, like 8 hours a day, I struggle with dialing a phone number. And the more stressed I become, the more inverted the numbers become. And I've had to learn to accept that you are dyslexic. And I will look at the word, I will look at the phone number, I will read the phone number 3 times. I've learned 3 times is good. Read it, even if I can whisper it out loud, and then slowly dial the number. And it has helped me move forward in that. And learning, again, just learning to be comfortable with who you are. None of us are perfect. We all have flaws. I think it somewhat keeps us humble, and it's okay. My last one, before I turn it back over to my husband, would be enjoy the little things in life. I think I've always done that.
Oh, you have?
I think that's even when I was a kid. I was appreciative of somebody gave me a lollipop. I was so excited about it. I don't know why. It's just ingrained in me naturally to do that. But I've watched people, my own family, I've watched people I work with, I watch people in life, they're not happy with anything. You could give them a matchbox car. See, speech right there. And they're like, oh, thanks. You could hand them a Rolls Royce, brand new, right, right out of the showroom. And they're like, oh, thanks. They have no appreciation for anything. Enjoy the little things. We're by the water. I can enjoy the beauty of today. It's not hot and sticky. I can enjoy the beauty of that. Spending time with my husband, I can enjoy that. Spending time with you all, I can enjoy that. Enjoy the little things. If you see one beautiful flower and take a moment, what do they say? Smell the roses, take time to smell the roses.
Exactly.
Enjoy the little things in life. I think when you're early teens, 20s, 30s, even into your 40s, you're rushing through life, you're building a career, you're raising your kids and all that stuff. And yes, that's all important, and I did all that. But now that I'm a little older, even just the sounds. We came home last night, it was like, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And things are changing in New Jersey, and we get the sounds of the crickets and the tree frogs that come out in August, right before the fall settles in. That is my first time, one of the favorite times of the year is August, hearing those sounds of the summer. Enjoy the little things in life. Okay, babe, your turn.
All right. So I would say that one of the next things that I have on my list is appreciating my parents and grandparents for all they did.
Amen.
Not just, well, they're gone and just moving on, but appreciating them for all that they did. Actually, I have always been one that have done family trees and ancestry, and have gone into all that type of thing, because it is amazing how much the family history is amazing how much they have contributed, because that only affects me,
Absolutely.
my family.
I think appreciating too, if I can jump in.
Go ahead.
We were blessed to have grandparents, your grandparents, around, that our oldest son, when he was younger, had a great-grandfather and a great-grandmother, a couple, to watch them and what they do. And I remember Graham Mark, our oldest son, was maybe 6 or 7, and the grandparents had to move in with his parents because they were older. So they lived in the same home, and we were in the living room, and my great-grandfather-in-law walked into the living room, and she was, I guess, still getting ready. And our youngest son said, "Where's the other one?" He knew they came together. And I thought, what an example to our son that he saw my grandparents-in-law as a couple, that they were united.
Yes.
And that's how they were. They were a united front. They were complete opposites, total. Someday we need to share some stories about growing up in Africa and your history. Fascinating stories, if you like stories. But anyway, our son knew, where's the other one? I'll never forget that he knew they were a team. What an example to us too. Sorry to interrupt. It just stuck out in my head that we can look to them and glean from them that to be a team for us as a married couple.
Well, that's it, because the more you learn about the struggles that they went through, not only the good and the bad, because that's what made them, and because that's what created you.
That's true.
That's what made you a person.
Yeah.
So that's why I appreciated that. And the next one that I have is, and it's kind of like something that you said, and that's appreciating the journey. The more you take the time to appreciate the journey of life, some people might call it take time to stop and smell the roses. It's not just where I'm going, it's as I'm going.
Oh, I like that. Write that down. Write that down. Quoted by Graham Wilson. Love that.
Because unless you take time to every day stop to take time to, as I'm going along, appreciate what I'm doing, God gives you all of these things to appreciate.
Mm.
And that's what makes it.
We take it for granted.
We do. We honestly take it for granted. Otherwise, it could just be a blur. And don't wait to get to the end of my life and look back and go, oh, you know what? I could have appreciated it. No, take the time to stop during your day and appreciate it.
Did I tell you he's not wise? Did I tell you? This is what I live with every day. Oh, good stuff.
All right, and then one more, and then I'm going to
Okay,
pass it back
okay.
to you. And that goes along with it, and that is treat each day as a new day. You know, don't drag along the worries of yesterday into the next day. Because, yes, there were things that happened yesterday. And, you know, don't forget about them, but sometimes we tend to drag along those worries. But every day is a fresh day. God has given me a fresh day. I wake up with a fresh new day, and God has given me a fresh new day.
Well, we could end it right there on that note. That was good. Okay.